So at this time of year, we get lots of questions about bare root roses and what they actually are, what the difference is between bare root roses and container roses. Effectively, they are the same plant. A bare root rose just hasn't been put into a container yet. They're a lot easier to plant, and you'll see that through our planting videos. But essentially, all you need to do is ensure that these roots are hydrated before they go in the ground, that the union is planted around an inch or so below the ground. And then after that, when it comes to looking after them, it's exactly the same. You'd prune them according to the weather conditions and the time of year, and you'll have flowers within the first season. When you receive your bare root rose, you can leave it in the packaging for a maximum of a week, as long as you keep it in a nice, cool, shady area, around about 5 or 6 degrees. If you're not quite ready to plant after that time, your roses will be absolutely fine sitting in a bucket of water for around about 2 weeks. Anything longer than that, then you need to consider either healing them in or just placing them in a tub or a bucket of compost, in which case they can then sit in those conditions for up to 2.5 months. If you have a worry that, oh no, I'm not sure if my bare root's alive, so we say we plant this in November, come April time we're thinking, oh, there's nothing really going on. If you're really worried, you can take a knife, a fingernail, and just ever so slightly scrape back the bark. It needs to be the tiniest little scratch. If it's green underneath, your rose is still alive, and it will be coming, and you'll, before you know it, there'll be leaves, there'll be buds, there'll be flowers. When we're planting bare root roses, there are a few basic essentials that you'll need. Most importantly, a good spade, some blended farmyard manure or some kind of organic matter that you can dig through your soil. If you've got a nice bed, you can dig through and prepare the whole area first. If you're just doing a small hole or a small area, a spoonful in the bottom and then mixed in is great. You also need your bare root rose. This one's been rehydrated in this bucket of water for about 2 hours. We've got a mycorrhiza fungi, really important, gives the roots a really good head start. And then just to help with planting, a simple garden cane, and this can be anything of the same sort of thickness, just to give you a level for where to plant the union. Finally, one of the most important things, not to forget, watering can, so we can give our rose a really good watering in. We'd be looking to plant bare root roses in the dormant season, so from November onwards through to the latest probably March. Ideally, we want to get them in the ground as soon as possible, let the roots start to establish over the winter, really kind of bed down, so that the following season we get some lovely healthy blooms within the first year of planting. Now when it comes to planting in the ground, you want to give yourself enough space. Each rose will tell, the label will tell you exactly how big that rose will get to, and that's height and width. That size will take about 2 to 3 years to achieve. So depending on the effect you want in your garden, it's important to consider that, how close you plant together. So the closest you really want to be going is around about 60 centimeters for your bush roses, your floribundas, your hybrid teas. Climbers and ramblers would be a lot further apart, somewhere around about 1.5 meters to 2 meters in spacing. Once you've actually got it in the ground, really important to make sure that earth is really fluffy and light so that the water and the feed can get in and down to the roots nicely. Decorative stones, bark and stuff all look really lovely. They don't do masses of benefit for your rose, so keep it simple. First of all, we need to dig a nice hole. That would be around about a spade's width and a spade's depth, so around about 45 centimeters. Once we're happy with the depth of the hole, just make sure that the bottom, so the pan at the bottom, is nicely loosened so that the roots have somewhere to expand to going forward. Ideally now, we use a cane. This is just to get the level for the bare root. So I've got my rose here. Now ideally we want to be planting the union an inch or so below the soil. So by using a cane, we can get the height like that. So we'll put the cane. I've got my mycorrhiza fungi. So this goes directly onto the roots to stimulate root growth. And if I sprinkle this over the hole, anything that misses the root will go in the hole and also help. So if we now space all the roots out into the hole, using the cane to make sure the union is below the soil, and then we can start to backfill. Once you're happy the level's about right, the cane can come out of the way. Continue to backfill, and also to firm the ground around the rows and around the roots so that there are no air pockets. Once it's fully covered, it's a really good idea just to get your heel in, really compact the top, make sure it's solid all the way around, and then a final backfill just to neaten it off. Ensuring we leave the soil nice and fluffy so that when we water it, the water goes straight down to the roots. And the final step is just to water the rows in. And you can be quite generous with this as well. And as simple as that, that's planting a bare root rose.